These series of videos are demonstrating how to automate economic policy through code. A link to the GitHub repository is included in the video description. The previous video demonstrated how to open a system account and explained what was going on in the background. In this one, we'll demo the simple use case of creating a transaction. Then, in the next, tour at a high level the system accounting code. As of October 2021, the production environment is available at mxfactorial.io. Sign in on the landing screen with an account name and password. You will land on the home screen. This is where you create transaction requests. In system accounting, all transactions begin as requests. So let's create one. First, open a session for a different account to participate in the transaction. And the story is, John Smith brings milk, eggs, and bread to the counter. The cashier creates the request by ringing up the items. In a live scenario, the cashier will probably use their own point-of-sale device to create a request, but for demo, we're using this minimal web client. Now, the credit button remains selected because you're asking to be paid. If you want to think like a physicist, this button creates a potential with value pointed in the direction of the person authoring the request. Finally, add the recipient account, which is the person shopping at the grocery store, or John Smith. You'll notice some other items pop up below after the recipient was added. In system accounting, tax liability calculation and payment are automated. The government receives taxes immediately. So, don't need an IRS, don't need a franchise tax board, don't need a Department of Revenue. Adding transparency or observability to how taxes are collected and spent in real time empowers the public to measure their government's performance. Instead of looking up vehicle traffic, map websites can help replace politics with public data science by querying the transaction database and visualizing government revenue and spending in real time. So unless you're a television addict, say goodbye to dramatic finger-pointing, intrigue, speculation, talk of political parties. People who govern by the numbers don't have time for that. Okay, we went from automation to observability, but we'll wrap up this automation intro. Debt service, dividend, capitalization, rent, wage payments. These are all transactions that may be automated right along with taxes through a rules service. That is, users can create rules to automate transactions. We'll dive into the transaction automation feature later. It's bound to upset folks whose careers are sustained by transaction friction, referring to bankers, stock and bond traders, lawyers. Okay, hit the request button. And in the other session hosting the shopper, that's John Smith, open the navigation menu. Select the request button. Select the request. This is a transaction request. Note the milk, eggs, and bread with the sales tax and a total of $20.71. Alright, now select the Approve button. We'll have to refresh the screen to show the change in balance. Do that in a moment. Here, in the creditor session, that's grocery store, hit refresh, and the grocery store balance increased by 19. We're out of privacy windows for separate sessions, so to look at the balance of the state of California, we'll just use this endpoint development tool and send a GraphQL request querying the balance of the account belonging to the state of California. Select the Send button. This will show where the remaining $171 in taxes went. And there it is. The government received its taxes immediately. Now, returning to the debitor session, that's John Smith. Select Home and refresh. Debitor account decreased by $20.71. Let's calc it. 1,000 minus $20.71. leaves a balance of $979.29. Value is conserved. Besides the transaction automation, as demoed with the automatic calculation and payment of taxes, an observer may object to witnessing any novelty here. That is, this flow looks like any other payment app. What's important is the data structure. The principal design of system accounting is structuring transactions according to a natural physical law, helping the public wrap its head around that law. Not only defends it from words such as banks, monetary, and coins, it achieves a leap in public scientific knowledge. Transactions are first and foremost conserved quantities. Then, system accounting is also designed as a streaming data platform. Friction from encryption and replication must be kept as low as possible while computing, among a vast range of other measurements, the real-time cost of debt and equity for the public. Or, equity first, then debt. We observed sign-in, creating a request with transaction automation, specifically taxes, approving a request, and conserved balance changes between 3 accounts involved in a single transaction. In the next video, we'll briefly tour the system accounting project structure as of November 2021, and in later videos, dive into each feature. You may subscribe, share, and contribute from the buttons and links in the description.